fans out there. Welcome to Packers Blitz. How about them Packers, John?
How about the Packers? So it is so weird that we are sitting here talking about a win like it's the greatest thing since, well, anything really. But it's been a while, right? We've never experienced 5 games losing. The most, if everybody really wants to know some fun stuff, and you've probably heard this a million times, is Matt LaFleur has only lost 1 game in a row. Only now has he lost 5 games. So one of the things I was going to talk about, because I didn't think, I'll be honest with you, Packer fans, I didn't think we'd win this game. So that's just me being honest. And yes, I'm a diehard Packer fan, but come on. Andy, what did you think? Did you think we'd win this game?
No, not at all.
He's a man of few words.
Not at all, but I was trying not to be totally pessimistic. We actually did watch the game together, John, so that was something that we, there was a slight chance that we were going to win, and when you originally start a game, you always have a chance to win. So that part was, it was nice to see them finally win one. So
winning.
Yeah, and that's what's really exciting, because one of the things I want to point out is, before we get to our topics and game review and all that good stuff, is this is a stat I did not know. Andy, I don't know if you knew this stat, but James Lofton was, in his rookie year, scored 3 touchdowns. Christian Watson, hey, where have you been, Christian Watson? We've been looking all over for you. Scored 3 touchdowns and almost scored 4. So doesn't that blow you away, James Lofton?
And not to cut you off, John, but that was the first time since 1988 they actually had that on the Packers app. And as Christian Watson was doing his interview, they had it up on the bottom of the screen. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Yes, it was the first Packers rookie wide receiver or rookie, for that matter, on offense with multiple TDs since 1988.
So, Andy, what did we say about the 80s? It wasn't a very good year. Hey, look at that. James Lofton, which is a Hall of Famer, scored 3 touchdowns in his rookie year. One of the things I saw about Christian Watson, I don't know what they did at halftime, but somebody must have given him a power bar, or somebody must have gave him a good talk, a good motivation. Because didn't he look like a completely different player in the second half?
He sure did. He was catching the ball, making plays. So, and they showed a picture of him and looked like his broken pinky finger. So I don't know if that created some adrenaline flow or what it was. But once they probably popped that back into place, he was catching everything, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. And I think moving forward, that's a good sign, which we'll get into the game review here in just a sec. But one of the things I was mostly impressed out of all this game was that we had 3 defensive starters. I mean, that's pretty, hard for any team to overcome, even 1 defensive starter. So anyway, let's get to the game review.
You're talking about the defensive starters being out of the game?
Being out. So we had Devondre Campbell out.
Yep.
Who else was out? Rashawn Gary out. Eric Stokes out. Those are 3 big-time starters.
And Stokes might not even be back, John. He might not even be back by the end of the year. So
yeah, we'll deal with that later. Yep. But anyway, so let's get to the game review. So one of our topics, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but one of the topics we were going to talk about, Andy and I, was, what the hell is going on out there? Why are the Packers not winning? Well, here in my game review is 2 things I saw differently today that I haven't seen in the past. One, we ran a balanced game. They didn't give up on the run, okay? We ran for over 200 200 yards, which it's been a while since we've done that. I don't know how long, but it was balanced. And Aaron Rodgers threw for over 200 yards. And that, to me, shows why we won this game. Now, there were some defensive stops, sure, but we were balanced. So that was a huge takeaway for me. And also, Christian Watson showed up. He showed his talent and how if you watch and please do because it's so exciting to watch them win a game, you got to watch the replay again. He was leaving people in the dust. Like he had 1 or 2 steps on people. In the NFL, not easy to do. In college, very easy to do. So my biggest takeaways were balanced offense, really good defensive stops when we needed it to. But one of the things that I didn't like was we still have the same problem when there's like I don't know, 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 4. We just like forget how to play football. And that's the only way I can say is it just seemed to me is just again that started to rear its ugly head again, but we got past it. So balanced offense. If I was choosing my MVP for the game, it would be the offense, just because they looked a lot better. I can't remember the last time we scored 31 points, which is ridiculous when we have Aaron Rodgers. So again, that was kind of my takeaways from the game. Andy, if you want to share some stats and your takeaways, that would be great.
Sure, and I think some of the things we had talked about previously, John, is that the story of the day was Mike McCarthy's return to Lambeau, him bringing the Cowboys to face us.
How about them
and
Cowboys?
I did want to, yeah, and I did want to, mention for the both of us that we do appreciate Coach McCarthy for leading us to a Super Bowl victory in 2010.
Absolutely.
And for that, as a diehard Packers fan, I will always be grateful for that. And so I wanted to thank Mike McCarthy for inspiring our Green Bay Packers players to victory. Awesome team win. And again, the final score was 31-28. Packers win. So,
yeah.
That sound effect, John. Love it. Okay. So according to the Associated Press, we're starting over on that. The Cowboys blew a 14-point lead heading into the fourth quarter for the first time in franchise history. They entered Sunday. Yeah, I know. Neat fact. They entered Sunday with a 195-0 record in such games, including playoffs. 195 wins, 0 losses. So again, kind of a nice little tidbit there. So, but anyway, some of the crucial stats that helped us to our victory on Packers offense, like John had said before, we rushed for over 200 yards, 210 yards to be exact. And Dallas only had 159, so we outrushed them. Our third down efficiency, John, you wanted to know that. We were 6 of 13 for 46%, and Dallas was only 5 of 15 for 33%. So I think that was a key to the game right there, that we were more efficient on third down, which we have not always been that way the last few games. And so that was nice to see that turnaround with that. And again, Christian Watson, you had mentioned before, rookie making plays. He was the first Packers rookie again with multiple TDs since 1988. He had 4 catches for 107 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then the other thing I did want to mention on offense, A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones were awesome. They were great. A.J. Dillon had 13 carries for 65 yards, and Aaron Jones had a monster game, 24 rushing attempts for 138 yards and a touchdown. So out of the 2 backs, of course, Aaron Jones had a better game, but both of them contributed to the victory greatly. So, and then you had mentioned A-Rod threw for over 200 yards, 224 yards to be exact, and those 3 touchdowns all to Mr. Watson. And then on defense, I did want to mention safety Rudy Ford. He had a great game with 2 picks. Both in the second.
Rudy!
Yeah, exactly. Both in the second quarter, and actually both were for 34 yards, which I thought kind of was interesting. So when I looked that up, I had to go back and look again because I couldn't believe it was actually the same yardage. Isaiah McDuffie led the team with 13 tackles.
Wow.
And Jari Alexander, our cornerback with a really big contract, made a play batting down that pass on third down on the final drive, intended for CeeDee Lamb, which I thought I would mention since that was one of the few positive plays that he made, but just wanted to shout out to Jari Alexander. And then on Packers, the Packers special teams, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this, Kayshawn Nixon.
Close enough.
Did an excellent job returning punts. Thank goodness Amari Rodgers wasn't out there.
So let me just thank you for all that awesome. Amari Rodgers, look, man, I get it. You're trying, and you're a Packer, but dude, it's not working. So I don't know what to do because it's not really his fault in a sense because one, our special team still needs a lot of work, but you can't keep making the same mistakes over and over. I mean, it's just you almost cost us the game, and our special teams, I think, again, not the greatest, a little bit better, but let me ask you this, Andy. What do you do with Amari Rodgers? I mean, we really don't have anyone else, right?
Right. Well, Nixon's been stepping up, plays defense, plays special teams. He's been doing a really good job, did a really good job returning some of the punts for us. So it was kind of funny because, we had originally talked until we were victorious that we were going to start talking about benching certain players.
Absolutely.
And so that was kind of strange that all of a sudden we had to switch gears because there was so much media attention to that. And then we were thinking about all good topics. What's going on with the Packers? So again, what's going on with Amari Rodgers? Great player in college. But again, not transitioning to the pros and not really making an impact. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the muffing of the punts, you can't have that. There were a couple punts today that he just looked like he couldn't do the job. So it was great that they did something. They had somebody else out there that could catch the ball and make some plays. So we couldn't have that. One drop can change the momentum in the game.
Absolutely. And so really with my summing up here, the game review.
Well, you forgot the most important part, John.
Oh, go ahead.
Mason Crosby made the 28-yard field goal to win it. Packers win. Packers win. Packers win.
Yep. Mason Crosby, doesn't he start to look like your grandpa? Doesn't he look like he's kind of a guy that's just going to show up at your house and be like, everybody just goes, Grandpa. And he's all gray hair. He's like, I'm like, I love the guy, but he's showing his age. But yes, we won.
I think he looks older than the two of us because I think he has more grays than
he's got a lot of
combined. Grays. And not that we don't have gray hair, John, but I'm just saying, yeah, he's starting to look his age. That's for sure. And beyond,
I have gray hair. None you can see. Let's not get into that, okay? Anyway, so we won, fireworks, awesome. I think there was, a better feel. Like this game, like against Detroit, I told Andy, I just can't watch this anymore. And we turned on a different game. Here, we watched the game all the way through together, and we're like, oh, come on, we can do this. So we all believe next game, let's all believe, which we'll talk about the Tennessee Titans in our game preview a bit later. So one of the things I want to talk about is, and I knew it was going to be a more hot topic if we lost. But for all those people out there who are saying bench Aaron Rodgers, there's only one thing I have to say to you.
You're an idiot.
You're an idiot because you're going to bench the 4-time MVP, Super Bowl champion quarterback, Super Bowl MVP, by the way, and holds pretty much a lot of Packers records and is considered one of the most talented quarterbacks to ever play. For a guy from Utah State, Jordan Love, who, by the way, if you watched any of the preseason, he did nothing. So I get it. Everybody wants to point fingers at somebody. And here's the other thing. And, and you can, you saw too where he got hurt, where his thumb was pretty beat up, yet he stuck it out, right? He stuck it out and went out there and played well. So again, if you're one of those people who says bench Aaron Rodgers, first of all, again, you're an idiot. Second of all, when we bench Aaron Rodgers, that relationship is over. It is done. Because you don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to go like, all right, fine. I'm just going to go to, well, I don't know, San Francisco, New Orleans, someplace like that, and light you up every time I play against you. Just like Mr. Favre did. When he went to the Jets, he was playing really well. And then when he went to Minnesota, what happened? Of course, they lost in the NFC Championship game. That's a topic for a different day. But please, people of Earth, I'm calling to you. Stop talking about benching Aaron Rodgers because that is not the answer. And it's definitely not the answer now. So, Andy, what are your thoughts? We were talking about that when we were watching the game. So tell me a little bit about what you think about that.
Yeah, all I have to mention is the one play that he made on the edge to free up Aaron Jones for that large run toward the end of the game. And he
that
put
was baller.
Yeah, he put his body on the line. He put his season on the line to make that block, and he put a block on the defender. And that just tells you really what Aaron Rodgers is all about. Earlier in the game, like John had mentioned, there are a couple trainers working on his thumb because he gets sacked and he gets hit by two really large 300-pound or more defensive linemen on his thumb. And so, he's already injured. We know he's injured. He has that wrap on his thumb. And he's going and trying to make plays. He's going and putting a block on a dude that could, take his head off. So, kudos to him. It just shows you what type of player he is and what he's willing to do to win. And the game was on the line. It had to be done. He needed to put a block on that guy, and he did it. So, no, we are not benching Aaron Rodgers.
Thank you.
There's no reason to bench him, especially now. Moving forward, we need to stick with him. Jordan Love, as we know already, the organization knows he's not ready, and he could be a total bust. And he's been called that. So you have to take what you know. Aaron Rodgers is still really good.
Yes.
And Jordan Love is not. So this organization is all about winning, and you got to put your best player out there, and that would be definitely Aaron Rodgers. Yeah,
that was a great point, Andy. And by the way, this is kind of scary, actually. I hate to scare because this is positive podcast, but he's due $20 million next year if we want to keep him, Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers is due about $40 million. Yeah. So either way, we are how do you say screwed and not in a good way. And really, we'll talk about this in some other podcasts, but with Rodgers, I mean, he's a guy that wants to play and he's still competitive and he still can play at a high level. I mean, are you going to bring Tyler Heineke in? Let's do that. Let's bring Tyler Heineke in. you can say, well, he plays hard and he plays tough, and he doesn't have a quarter of the talent of Aaron Rodgers, even at this age of 38. So, Andy, you want to
I think we should bring in Jimmy Garoppolo. I just love saying Jimmy Garoppolo. Love that name. Plus, he's Jimmy Garoppolo. Just look at him. So
I think that pretty much wraps it up on that. I want to move on to something that Andy told me about my favorite player, Tom Brady.
Oh, geez. We're going to talk about this?
Awesome. I love him. I want to marry him. No, I'm getting out of hand.
Shut up.
So I finally saw the play Andy was talking about. And I'm going to talk about Tom Brady a lot on here, even though we're Packers. Because, again, you'll notice throughout podcast here that I do not like him as an understatement. Anyway,
yes,
I watched
the play.
I watched that play you were talking about where he goes out as a receiver and Fournette throws that ball.
Yep.
Like, then we did the same thing with Bakhtiari against Detroit. Like, who is calling that play? How is that a play? So
exactly. Yep.
Come on.
They were up 14-3 and they were beating Seattle. They had a first down at the Seattle 12-yard line, I think it was.
Yeah, something. They were in the red zone.
Yeah.
That was just crazy. And you know the other thing that Tom Brady did that they didn't call a penalty on because he's Tom Brady is he tripped the defender. The defender, it was such an easy interception. I think even me or Andy could have done it. And then he lands and Tom Brady trips him. You can see it plain. By the way, just really quick side note. Tom Brady was fined $11,000 by the NFL for kicking a player, an Atlanta player, who sacked him when they played for the Falcons. And everybody goes, it's Tom Brady. So anyway, I'm not going to get my Brady shtick here. Any Brady fans want to reach out to me, great. Love it. Love to talk to you, and I'll prove why Aaron Rodgers is a superior quarterback. Not in championships. You got that. But talent-wise, come on, Tom Brady. Give me a break.
That was another Tom Brady epic receiving fail on a trick play.
Yes.
Epic.
And
the strange part too is, John, they were throwing it at Tariq Woolen, who is a rookie cornerback. But the guy has 4 interceptions. Now he has 5. So he's pretty much, I think he was leading the league or pretty close to it. What were they doing? Why were they throwing it there? And especially to Tom Brady. And again, it was hilarious because Tom Brady falls down and just trips himself. It wasn't the defender that was doing it. He just fell down.
You are one pathetic
it's
loser.
Ridiculous to me about that. So anyway, moving on, our topic was originally going to be what's wrong with the Packers? Like, what the hell is going on out there? Well, they won. So we're kind of switching things up a little bit on the fly here. When I saw, again, repeat what I said earlier, is they were balanced offense, right? That did well. It didn't seem Rodgers was trying to force stuff as much. I mean, he made that, I think it was in the third or fourth quarter, where he threw that one to Watson, tried to do a back shoulder, and Lazard was like wide open. I don't think he would have walked in, but I don't know, probably could have been a touchdown. So really that's what I saw. And from the defense, I saw them play, I don't know, with like more heart. Like I saw them like, we can't lose this game. We're not going to lose this game. Like they were willing that game. So what has been the difference? I'm going to try to put on a link on our website. Kurt Warner, Hall of Fame quarterback, who, by the way, was the 4th string quarterback when Favre was there and Magic Man Mikowski was there.
Magic Man.
Yeah, man. Look him up. We'll talk about him sometime. I was hoping. We need your magic.
Yeah, and John, you said fourth string quarterback?
Yes, he was fourth string.
Fourth string.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we had Brunell, Favre, Magic Man, Kurt Warner.
Yep.
Yeah. So remember Magic Man, I think it was the year after he got hurt and was in training camp. It was like 94, 93. We'll check our dates. Hey, we're just having fun here.
Might have been 92.
But anyway, so Kurt Warner did this great video on what's going wrong with the Packers. I showed it to Andy. I don't know if you had any time to watch it, but when you do, we can talk about it. But I watched it. And what I found out was three things. One, our receivers are not running the wrong routes. Duh. Aaron Rodgers is not seeing people who are open. Duh. And third thing is they're just calling plays that you're like, what are you doing? You know, you just have to, you're on the 1 yard line against Detroit and they run this, I don't know, play with Sammy Watkins. And Sammy Watkins goes in for a slant and Aaron Rodgers throws a fade route. Okay. Now today, you didn't see that. There was very rare times where you saw Aaron Rodgers just throw it and the receiver was like 10 yards away. So that's kind of what I saw today. Hopefully moving forward, we will have a little more stability and, when we play the Titans next week. So Andy, what did you see? What's like gone wrong? And then today, what went right? And see what are the changes you saw?
Well, I would say, and I was going to say this earlier, I wanted to give a shout out to the stout offensive line play that we had.
Oh, absolutely.
The NFL is now, of course, an offensive league, and our offensive line stepped up today. You got to admit that. Great defense they were playing. We scored 31 points, and that was not only due to all the weapons that we utilized today, our receivers, our running backs and whatnot, but it was the offensive line giving Rodgers some protection. So up until the game against the Bills, Rodgers had been, pressured, sacked more often than I had seen him pressured in the last 3 years during our deep runs in the playoffs. So I thought, David Bakhtiari played really well too, and we need him to regain his all pro form.
Yeah,
and you have to protect your franchise quarterback, which is again not Jordan Love, and that was one of the points actually that we were going to talk about, as far as reaching another Super Bowl. So it was nice to see the offensive line stepping up, and that they played really, really well and helped.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things is we'll see how they do this week and see how they do. And that's one of the things we wanted to talk about is, will the Packers reach another Super Bowl, what it really takes. And that's a topic again, Andy and I were really surprised they won this game. So we're really focusing on that. But next week, what we'll do is kind of talk a little bit more about how we get back to the Super Bowl, whether with Rodgers or without, preferably with. But we don't know what the offseason is going to bring, and that's something I think we can talk about, a little bit later. One of the other things I saw was, again, Rudy Ford, some guy. Andy and I looked at each other and go, who is that guy? Another journeyman who comes in and saves our bacon. And he played really, really well. So I think there was a lot of good that we took away from this. We have a short week, which is going to be hard because Tennessee's a good team. But, again, I think the biggest thing was that we were just balanced, right? We executed. Yes, execution. I don't say that a lot because I'm like, yeah, you got to execute. You're going to lose the game. But balance was the key. So what do you think, Andy? Any final thoughts on the game and just kind of that topic?
No, just really happy for a Packers win. I don't know if you want me to go into a little bit about the game coming up with the Titans. If we have any time to do
we'll
that.
get to that here. We'll get that here. Just one other thing I want to say is when we choose these topics and everything, we like to have a lot of fun with them and like to give them a little more in depth, which we will do that moving forward because we want, Packer fans who listen to this go, yeah, I agree with that. I don't agree with that. And what we'll do in the future is have a nice little email set up, that you can send to us and be kind. And we can bring up different topics too. But no, so let's, it's so good to say a victory. Victory Monday coming up. So let's talk about yeah, nice. So let's talk about our next opponent, Tennessee Titans. So Andy, why don't you kind of give us a little preview of that game?
Yeah, thanks, John. Well, Packers Titans, Lambeau Field, Thursday night game at 7:15 p.m. on Amazon Prime. Just to let everybody
and just
know.
One really quick thing.
Yeah.
If you watched any of the games on Amazon Prime, they've been hot garbage for the most part. There's been a couple good games here and there, but no, you have to have Amazon Prime. So some of you people out there are going like, hey, yeah, I'm going to go to NFL Network and watch this game. I've only watched Thursday night. You don't have Amazon Prime, you're out of luck. So anyway, Andy, continue.
Hope you cut out for a second. Usually I would give a big preview and a lot of statistics and matchups and all the keys to the game, but I'm not going to do that. I will say this is probably a bad matchup for the Packers. They do not match up well with them offensively or defensively. The Titans have Derrick Henry, a complete beast of a running back, and Tennessee ranks in the top 10 NFL teams in run offense. So they're top 10 in run offense. And the Packers are in the bottom 10 teams in run defense. So we're going to have to try to stop him first and foremost. Plus, we have to be able to run the ball. And the Titans' run D is ranked number 2 against the run earlier today.
Number 2 in the league or number 2 in the AFC?
Number 2 in the league.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. So one of our only hopes is that Malik Willis will take over for Ryan Tannehill and will be named the starter again, hopefully. And if that happens, we can hopefully snatch victory. So
So Andy, you said they don't match up well. Are you just talking about like the running game predominantly, or are you just talking about receivers? Because I mean, Tannehill doesn't scare me. Derrick Henry scares me, but Tannehill doesn't scare me. Does Tannehill scare you? I mean,
no, not at all. And actually, I was getting to that part because I'm feeling a lot better. A lot of the notes I took on it was actually earlier than the game, and I'm feeling a lot better since we were victorious and everything. So
nice.
Tannehill's Tannehill. He fumbles a lot. As long as we keep him in the pocket, we'll probably get some turnovers from him, probably a few sacks, hopefully some fumbles. We did not put a lot of pressure on the quarterback today. I understand that.
Yeah, but, where's the pass rush? Where'd the pass rush go, Andy?
Non-existent. So we wish Rashawn Gary was still with us. So
yeah. That kind of sucks.
Hopefully it will be our second win in 7 games coming up, and we can keep creeping back to 500. So Tennessee beat Denver today 17-10.
Denver.
So they are actually That's true. That's true. So Tennessee is 6-3 on the year. And again, that was a low scoring game, so I would predict that it's probably going to be another low scoring game. I'm feeling a lot better after watching the effort that the Packers put out.
Oh, come on!
So anyway, Tennessee has a really good defense. Their offense is not so good, but they do have a very good run offense with Derrick Henry. So our key, of course, is going to be to stop him, and that's not saying anything anybody else wouldn't say, but we need to do that. So as long as we do that, we hopefully will get a victory. So a lot of positive energy from today. Hopefully that will bleed over into Thursday night. So I predict that we're going to win again.
Andy's prediction for the game.
It's 2017 Packers in a relatively low scoring game. It's supposed to be, John, 27 degrees at kickoff. I actually looked at the long range forecast. That's exactly the same temperature as it was tonight when we won. So it's a good omen from the football gods. So I'm feeling good about that part too. I think even that's going to help us, the temperature and everything. So, and then this is kind of my ending comments, but remember that we all love football. We love the Green Bay Packers, and the reality is the team and its fans need to keep the faith and support our team. So go Pack! 5 and 6, here we come.
Yes, thank you so much, Andy. So let me just talk about what I think with the game's going to happen. I think the Packers win 21-17. I think it's going to be a little bit of a nail biter, kind of some ugly football going on. And that kind of brings me to something Andy brought up to me. He saw this quote by Micah Parsons about, stepping on cockroaches. Is that correct?
Roaches, yeah.
And then what his grandma told him, like, if there's a cockroach in your house, you're supposed to step on it. So do you remember that at all? Okay, can you just elaborate on that?
You kind of cut out for a second, John.
Oh, no problem.
Do you want me to elaborate on the cockroach?
Yeah,
story?
Michael Parsons said what? His grandma said what about cockroaches?
Yeah, I'm going to bring up the exact quote if I can get to it. Maybe not. a lot of dead air, John.
No problem.
Give me a second. I can find it, but just go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No. I said it's basically, there's a cockroach in your place. You don't let them run around on you and everything. You squash them, right? You step on them. And he was kind of, in his own little way, referring to the Green Bay Packers. Well, Mr. Parsons, who's the cockroach now?
So here's the quote, John. Here's the quote.
Oh, there we go. Here we go, people.
And I quote, this is according to Micah Parsons, the all-world Cowboys linebacker. And this was according to Yahoo Sports. Yahoo Sports. Uh-huh.
Yep.
We don't want to anger Yahoo.
Yeah, do not anger Yahoo. They are mean.
So Micah said, my grandma told me if you see a roach and it's fooling around, do you step on it and bury it? Or do you let it rebuild and get back to life? You step on it. I live life with no remorse. You can't have no remorse in this game. It turns up to bite you.
And
that's the exact quote.
Today, Micah Parsons.
Exactly. So I think that was a positive. I think he was trying to say that, we're actually a really good football team the last 3 years. 13-3, 13-3, 13-3. And again, a great team like that isn't just going to go away. So
absolutely. And thank you for that quote. Again, football's a funny game. There's some games we should win, there's games that we should lose. We're going to do a podcast on all the games that we should have won. which will probably take most of the podcast. Everybody remembers 2014. Even if you're a millennial, you still remember what happened in the last minute or 2 minutes of that game against Seattle. So we've been there.
Right. Yeah. So we need to stomp a little bit. We need to.
Yes. So we need to stomp on those cockroaches and get into the playoffs. So my takeaway for this and the end of this is we all have to believe Andy is right. Let's all join hands and sing Kumbaya. But you know what? We have 5 games at home. Well, yeah, I think still 5 games at home. We have Detroit at home, Minnesota at home. Help me out here, Andy. Detroit, Minnesota. I want to say.
I can look it up if you'd like me to.
We have Philadelphia on the road. We have Chicago on the road.
John, we need that killer instinct, and we need to have information right in front of us quickly.
Yeah. But I know we have the Rams at home. We have Detroit at home. We have Minnesota at home.
Bring it up. My phone just went boing. Yes, we have Philadelphia
on the road.
At Philadelphia, at Chicago Bears. We've got the Rams coming up.
Rams, they suck.
Away at Miami. Then we have the Minnesota Vikings at home and Detroit at home. So
okay. So
definitely
there we go.
Some winnable games sprinkled in there.
Absolutely. So again, in this podcast, again, like we're always going to do with Packer Blitz, is we're going to end it on a positive note. And my positive note is we all have to get together, step on those cockroaches, need to win those games, and do what we need to do to at least sneak in the playoffs. Because remember in 2010, we were 10-6 and no one gave us a chance, and we won a Super Bowl. So let's
Killer
have
instinct,
faith.
John. Killer instinct.
Killer instinct. So we love you, Packer fans. We look forward to doing another podcast next week. Andy, anything more you want to add?
Go Pack. Let's get another victory. The playoffs are in sight.
Playoffs are in sight. We love you all, Packer fans. You have a great night. We'll talk to you next week. Make sure you follow us on our Podbean podcast. Eventually, we're going to have some way you can comment and all that good stuff. But we love you guys, and we will talk to you next week. Peace out.